Hey.
Charul, please proceed.
Okay, should I start?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Charul Singh. Um, my father is Dr. Narendra Kumar Singh. He is the alumnus of NDUAT, and that's why I'm really excited to be here. My dad has spoken a lot about his experience and his time at the university. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here today and share my experience and my journey in the US so far. I'll start with a little bit of background about myself. Um, so I kind of grew up in two different countries. I was in Pune for 12 years of my life, and then I moved to Thailand, Bangkok. I was there for another 6 years, where I did my high school. So I was always interested in science from a very young age. Uh, for some reason, I really enjoyed reading like the encyclopedia and like all those kinds of books from a very young age. When I moved to Thailand in 12, I got the opportunity to attend Harrow International School. It's a British school. And over there, along with studying and along with like the academics, I was also super interested in like community service and volunteering. So I took part in like a lot of activities that the school had to offer, such as Habitat for Humanity, where we went on to build houses for the underprivileged or like people affected by the flood. I used to teach English at a foster home over there. I volunteered at the Thai Red Cross Society. I took part in crisis sleepovers, and I did a bunch of environmental activities also that helped raise awareness with the climate change and global warming. I planting trees, beach cleanups, and then I also took part in a lot of like extracurricular, like I was in the school badminton team. I used to swim a lot. So all of these activities actually helped me win the International Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award. I was 18 when I received that award as I was graduating from Harrow. So these activities also actually helped me get into the universities I wanted to. As I graduated from high school, I had two options. One of them was either pursuing MBBS in India or doing my biomedical engineering here in the US. So as a family, we decided that it's better I come to the US because my elder sister was here, um, and also my uncle and aunt in Arizona, Phoenix. So when I just turned 18, I came to the United States, um, clueless. I came to the United States with my sister. She got me here, and my uncle and aunt, Poonam Masi and Pramod uncle, they were also here. It didn't feel like that big of a change because my sister, Charul Singh, she was here. She helped me get through a lot of the initial things. She taught me everything. And obviously, I had some family, my uncle and my aunt, who I could always go to if I was feeling homesick or, to get home food during festivals. And so I came here to study BME. I'll talk a bit about what biomedical engineering is. It's kind of a multidisciplinary field. It's a combination of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, medicine, and biology. So you apply engineering principles um, in healthcare. So I'll just give some examples of what biomedical engineers work on. So artificial heart valves, pacemakers, orthopedic implants, even a Band-Aid is considered a medical device. So starting from something as basic as a Band-Aid, it goes to something as complex as a heart valve or like an artificial hip implant or a knee implant. Um, or even MRI or CT scans. And those are kind of some examples of what biomedical engineering is. So yeah, as I said, I just turned 18 when I came to the United States. It was my first time away from my parents. Um, and it was I was very nervous. I uh, didn't know initially what to do. My sister helped me with a lot of the things when I like initially over here, but um, very basic things like figuring out how to do the dishes or how to do the laundry, they were a big task for me. I had no idea. I'd never done any of this back home. But the best thing about the United States is that people here are extremely independent. So I saw the other 18-year-olds around me. They could do everything, even like changing a car tire that I could never imagine doing in my life. So I learned from them. I learned from my sister. She was always very independent. And then I got around and I got to learn all these things, some very basic things. And I realized how privileged I was. I realized how um, to have my parents who actually helped, like who raised me the way they did. So I'm going to talk about the university a little bit, and how the university helps international students. Just so you know, if anyone's planning to come here, you know how to navigate your way in your first year. So all the universities here have like an international students office, and they provide you with a lot of resources, such as temporary accommodation. So you can come here and look for your accommodation. There's like an Indian Student Association in all the universities that basically where you meet people from the same background as yours, so you don't feel as homesick if you don't have family here like I did. So they have a lot of events like icebreaker events where you can go meet friends, make connections. And then they host like Holi events or Diwali events, where you can, go celebrate festivals so you're not feeling lonely and sad during this festive time. So I would encourage everyone to take advantage of these resources that are available. If you are planning to come here, get in touch with the International Students Office, ask them what resources they have and take part in them. Um, and it's very important that when you're first here, you meet people and build a network, because they are the ones who'll actually help you, since you're away from your family. So as I started my undergrad at Arizona State University, first couple of years, I was just taking some core science classes or core BME classes. I was also exploring the place, meeting new people. Um, And then eventually in my third year, I started volunteering with a professor. So we were working on making hydrogels that were loaded with gentamicin to treat minor bacterial infections. That was a project that I was working on. I was helping a PhD student in that lab with it. So he taught me a lot of lab techniques, which helped me a lot later when I was applying for grad school or jobs. So this is another area of opportunity that I believe someone should take advantage of. Try to reach out to professors in the university, because they are there to help you. They will let you volunteer with them, let you work with them, and teach you a bunch of lab techniques that will help you eventually find a job and also get into graduate schools or pursue whatever it is that you're interested in. So in my final year with the same professor, I became a teaching assistant. And so so that was another excellent opportunity, because I got some experience into teaching, and that also helped me, so that I could put on my resume also, because when I was applying for jobs and stuff later. Um, so so this brings me to my next point, which is like on-campus opportunities. I would encourage everyone to explore on-campus jobs such as research assistants, teaching assistants, or just minor admin work that it can help you really sustain yourself. So you can probably take care of like some of your living expenses that way if you work on campus. I could not find anything other than the teaching assistant on campus, but my sister did. She used to work on campus, and she made decent money, and that we could spend on like food and shopping and anything that we liked without feeling guilty and just asking our parents for everything. So that was nice. She was very kind to share that with me. uh, and then in my last year, I believe a lot of the undergraduate programs here offer that. You do something called a capstone project, where basically everything that you've learned in your undergrad ties up together and you work on a project. So in my case, since I was in biomedical engineering, I had to build a medical device, but I'm sure like someone in automotive or mechanical engineering would be working on like cars or robots or whatever. So I had to build a medical device from scratch. The medical device that I was working on was an ophthalmic drug delivery device for post-surgical cataract patients. So we called it the eye patch. It was a patch that would go in your eye and release drug at a controlled and sustained rate. Um, for so the drug that so This was the drug that people took via eye drops after their surgery. So we identified some compliance issues with the use of eye drops, and that's why we designed this eye patch that could just be placed in the eye by the surgeon after their surgery, and then it would just deliver drug at a controlled and sustained rate. So this was definitely one of the highlights of my ASU experience. It taught me a lot. It taught me about how to start building a medical device from scratch, following all the regulatory guidelines. So biomedical engineering, again, I would mention, is a very highly regulated industry because it is something that is affecting people directly, like a pacemaker is directly implanted in or like an orthopedic implant is directly implanted in someone's knee, and you got to make sure that it is compatible. It does not release toxins that could cause infections, and it does not just break. So you test the mechanical strength of it, you test the biocompatibility, toxicity, the amount that it should be in your knee and when it should come off. So the use by date, that's what we call it. So all these things are very important. So we looked at all the aspects of the ophthalmic drug delivery device that we designed. So we tested the mechanical strength of it, um, the durability, the drug release rate from it, all of that. So yeah, and then we had to also document everything. So so the medical device industry here, everything needs to be documented because you can be audited by the FDA or the UL, which is another like regulatory body that gives you approval for to sell in Europe. So you need to make sure that you're compliant with all of their guidelines. So yeah, it gave me an opportunity to like learn a bit about the regulatory side of things also, and that was that's something that really helped me get my first job. I'll talk a bit about job search now. As I graduated from ASU, job search for internationals is a struggle. A lot of people might have said that there's something called OPT that you get after you graduate, which gives you 3 months to look for a job. And if you don't find a job within 3 months, you need to leave the country. And then the OPT duration is just 1 year for non-STEM people. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. If you're in STEM, you can work in the United States for 3 years after your graduation without the H-1B, which is the work visa. And if your degree is not STEM, you just get a year. So biomedical engineering is considered STEM. I had 3 years to work, but then so after I got my job, which was challenging, it was very difficult, and most people go through it. But in my case, what helped me was my network, my friends, and the career center. So the university always offers the university, all universities here have a career center where you can go, they'll help you build your resume, your cover letter, or like give you tips on how to apply for jobs. But I would really like to talk about networking. Networking is really important. You need to build your network. So starting from day one, it's very important that you establish good relationships with good people. and that you get by being very honest, by being hardworking, by being good at what you do. That's when you get recognized and you build. And also being kind and helpful. You help someone one day, and then eventually, they might, not that you should help them with that motive, but it works. So I started, and obviously my sister helped me a lot with my job search. Also, she was always behind, after me, to like applying, keep emailing people. So she was really helpful. I applied. She helped me a lot to apply for jobs. I think she even like applied to some for me. She's very nice. Um, so so yeah, my so we and she also practiced interviews with me. She looked for questions. I could like discuss my answers with her. So my friends here also did the same with me. So they were really nice people. They helped me really review my resume. They helped me review my cover letter. They gave me like a lot of tips on like little tips and tricks that could help me get an interview. So eventually I got a job. I moved to Warsaw, Indiana. I started working at Zimmer Biomet. Um, so this was the second state I moved to in the United States after Arizona. It was Indiana. And Indiana is in the Midwest, in the middle of nowhere in the United States. I was so this time I was not just away from my parents, I was away from my sister also. My sister really took care of me a lot when I was in Arizona, but she wasn't in Indiana. She had her own job going on, so she couldn't be there. And Warsaw, Indiana is a very small town. They didn't even have Ubers or cabs there. So I hated it. Initially, I was like, where have I come? I wanted to leave. But then my dad and my sister visited me, even before, like right after, I think a couple of weeks after I moved to Indiana. My dad traveled all the way from Thailand to Chicago, and so did my sister. And then they drove to Indiana to come meet me. That helped me. My dad was there. He gave me some very interesting tips on how to do well in my first job, because that was my first job. Um, he told me to be very proactive, to work very hard, to ask as many questions as I can. So I followed all of that. And then I also really wanted to do my master's. So I started applying for my master's. I applied to a few universities. So I'll talk a bit about your grad school application process. So there's an exam called the GRE that most of you should be familiar with. That is the exam that is required um, if you want to apply for grad school. And then your SOP, the statement of purpose, is another very important document, along with your grades, obviously your transcripts from undergrad. So your SOP is another important document. Um, some tips that I would like to share about writing the SOP is that do not go to anyone else to, um, write your SOP. What worked for me was I wrote it myself. I made it genuine, and I didn't try to make it all fancy and like or cliche. I didn't want to write some basic information, like some information like, oh, as soon as I was born, I wanted to be a scientist, or just keep it genuine. I really talked a lot about my capstone project and my research experiences. That's something that colleges like to see. Um, and have multiple drafts, have a lot of people look at them, but you make sure to write it on your own. So my SOP, my parents reviewed it, my sister reviewed it, and also a lot of my friends who did their masters here. So they gave me like a lot of interesting tips, and they reviewed it. We worked on drafts together, and eventually I applied, and I got quite a few of offers for my masters. And one of the offer that my mom was really excited about was Cornell. So I went on to pursue my master's at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. I quit my job in summer at Zimmer Biomed, and then I took a few months off. I traveled with my family. We went to India, we went to Jordan, and then my parents came to Cornell to drop me off. So that was kind of an easy change. My mom stayed with me for a few weeks. My dad was traveling in the US, but then he did come by also. Um, so so yeah, started off my master's at Cornell. So the master's program at Cornell was very interesting. Along with some BME classes, I could also take some leadership classes. And then they also gave me opportunity to do some other exciting things like preceptorship. Preceptorship is where I worked with, where I went to a hospital in Pennsylvania on a weekly basis to like shadow a surgeon. That kind of really gave me like firsthand experience. I could actually see how the medical devices we manufacture are used in the field, and the surgeon would also talk to us about what improvements we could make. So that would give us like some problems and challenges to work on like how to make an endoscope better. So I saw quite a few of like endoscopies. So that's why I'm talking about that. So yeah, I also took some regulatory classes. Since I had some industry experience, I could really see that what is the how important regulatory is in the medical device industry. So I took a regulatory affairs class just to strengthen my knowledge, and it really helped me a lot later to get a job. So I would say that in your undergrad, if you can do internships, if you can work a little bit after your undergrad before starting your masters, that is extremely it's going to give you a lot of insights. If industry is what you want to pursue in the future, then you should try to get some industry experience during your undergrad or after your undergrad to kind of see what are the skills that are required, and then you can work on strengthening those in your masters. Um, so that was one thing I did. Another very interesting experience at Cornell that I had was doing my master's project. For this project, I worked with a surgeon from the Cornell's medical school. It's called Weill Cornell Medicine. So we worked on de-skilling the DMEC surgeries that ophthalmic surgeons perform. So DMEC stands for descendant membrane endothelial keratoplasty. It is basically replacing the last two layers of your cornea in your eye. So basically surgeons face some issues with the surgery, and we worked on like how the surgery or the surgical method could be improved. That was my project. Again, it was a very rewarding experience. I got to learn a lot from the process, and I am also still in touch with the surgeons and the professors I worked with. They helped me a lot get into my PhD and also jobs. So yeah, building those networks, building that network, building those connections is again very important. I think that's the most important thing, to be honest. And then at Cornell, I also worked part-time. I was a tutor at the English Language Support Office. So I helped graduate students work on their research papers, journal publications, or like I would help people with their SOPs and just regular presentations for class or like class papers and all of that. So again, that helped me strengthen my own writing skills, which I believe will help me a lot during my PhD, because PhD is a lot about writing. That's what I've heard, or that's what people have been telling me during my orientation last week. So yeah, I graduated from Cornell after I completed my master's. Again, I was in the job search process. But this time it was easier. Number one, because I had experience, and number two, because I had because number one, yeah, because I had experience, because I had the Cornell name on my transcript. So that's a plus point also. And then number three, because wait, I forgot what number three was. So yeah, experience, Cornell's name, and network. That was, yeah. So I can't stress enough on like networking. Networking is very important. I built some amazing connections when I was in Indiana from ASU. So I reconnected with those people at Cornell. I met new people. So I reconnected with like old colleagues and like my new friends at Cornell. And then we, together, they helped me with my job search. And basically, it's you can reach out. I would suggest you reach out to as many people as you can and try to ask them about not just about how to go about job search, but just what their daily tasks are. So I would just call up people if I got their numbers from somewhere, and then ask them like, what do they do, what does their day-to-day look like in their jobs, and then see how I fit into that category. So shortly after Cornell, I interned in New York City. with a startup. And that was another interesting experience because Zimmer Biomet was a big company, but then I was interning in a startup where there are younger people, lots of ideas. It's like an open space where you get to be creative, you get to um, you have some discussions, whereas working for an old, an established company, there are like certain rules that you have to follow, which it's both different experience. But I really enjoyed working at working at the startup in New York City. It was called Cressalon, and we were working on a gel that stops bleeding. So initially intended for military applications, where if someone gets like shot or like wounded very heavily, they start bleeding, and this gel would basically somehow stop it from bleeding. So that was the technology that they were working on. And then I started, and then I was in Seattle for a bit, and then I moved to California. So in California, I was working initially as a process engineer at Applied Medical, and we worked on some laparoscopic uh, surgical devices, so like a trocar, um, wound retractors or wound protectors. And then I was involved in optimizing the manufacturing process of these devices. And that was the last 2 years that I was working on. So another struggle that I faced in California was all of these past years in the United States. So when I was in Arizona, and then in Indiana, and then in New York, I always lived in a furnished place. As soon as I moved to California, that was not an option in Orange County, because it wasn't a student town, so you couldn't get access to like furnished places. So initially, setting up my apartment was a challenge. It was my first time putting a bed together, table together, chair together. I had no experience in all of these things, and this is why I say that Americans are super independent. It's one thing that we should learn from them is definitely their independence, and they can from a very young age they're very independent, and I had to learn these things. So yeah, I got all of that. I got around doing it all myself eventually. And then also for the first 9 months in California, I would take an Uber to and from work every day because I didn't know how to drive. So if you can learn driving before coming here, you should, because it's very expensive to learn it here. And so I learned driving. I got the permit. Initially, you get like a learner's permit. You have to take a written exam to get the learner's permit, and then um, you kind of have to learn driving. So that permit lets you actually drive on roads with someone sitting beside you. And so then I started learning driving, and then I got my driver's test, my driver's license. I had to take the test twice. The first time I failed my driving test, um, and it was my fault. And then the second time I actually passed and I got my driver's license. And then eventually I bought my first car in Orange County. And then I would drive around. It's so nice to be able to drive. Um, I think that was the highlight of my last year, buying my car, being able to drive, being so independent, not relying on anyone, and especially Uber, and all the money I could save afterwards by not taking Uber. Um, but my car insurance was still very high, so that didn't help because of my driving history. So yeah, last 2 years I was in California. I was working with Applied Medical, and then I always knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to get into research. I enjoyed working in the industry a lot, but then I also remember when I was working on like projects in an academic setting or like volunteering with professors or doing research, I enjoyed that a little bit more just because you get to be creative in that space. When you're in industry, there are certain products that are already existing and you just work on them or making them better. But coming back to research, I would get to be innovative, creative, learn a lot of new skills. So I always knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to do a PhD, but I just needed that little push to apply, which all credits to my mom. She helped me. Um, she knew that that was what I was interested in. And obviously she was kind of interested in that too. So she really pushed me. She made sure she called me every day and like asked about my application's progress. She made me keep going. She motivated me a lot. And then eventually last fall, I started applying for a PhD. Um, and again, what really helped, so if you are someone who's aspiring to do a PhD in the United States, I'll share some tips here on what I did to get my PhD position. Do a lot of research in your undergrad. So as much research as you can do is volunteering with professors, working with PhD students during your undergrad and masters. That's something that'll help you a lot. So my SOP, I would say like 70% of my SOP was all my research that I had done in the past. I barely even mentioned my industry experience. So I mentioned research. And then also, when you do go and volunteer with professors and stuff, that helps you build a good connection with the professors. And during PhD, another very important thing that schools look at is your letter of recommendations. So if you need good letters of recommendations from your professor, you need to do some good work with them. So my recommendation was provided to me by the surgeon at Weill Cornell Medical School and the director of my program at Cornell University. And then the third one was the professor I worked with when I was at ASU. So I had those 3 recommendation letters, and they helped me a lot get into my PhD. So that and just keep your this keep your SOP very genuine. Again, tailor it to you. Don't like Google projects, or like don't try to get anything from anywhere else. Basically everything that you've done, because most professors do interview you for before you get into the PhD. So you should be able to like talk about what you actually worked on. So yeah, don't get like ideas from anywhere else. Make it your own. Talk about the work you did. So I started applying for PhD. I only applied to a few schools. I applied to like 3 only, and then I'm very fortunate, very grateful, very thankful that I got my PhD position here at Stevens with my advisor. So earlier this year, she contacted me for an interview. We had like an hour and a half long interview on video call on Zoom. And I talked a bit about my research. She told me about her research, and then that interview went really well. And then she actually, even after the interview, she even called my references personally to like to get to know a bit more about me, to do some background check or whatever. So make sure that even the recommendations that you're getting are from professors who really know you, because I didn't know this, but my professor did call my professor, my PhD advisor did call my old professors to get to know about me. So get your recommendations from professors that really know you, that you work with, and not just any random ones. Or like, don't write your recommendation on your own. Try to get your professors to write it for you, and professors that really know you and have worked with you. I got my PhD admit here, I think in March this year. And then I still continued to work because of the pandemic. I was really hoping to take some time off and spend some time with my parents this summer in Thailand, but I couldn't travel. And I guess none of us could because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I just continued to work. I worked till the 7th August this year. And then I moved, and then I took 2 weeks off to just, figure out my move, get rid of my furniture there, start packing, shipping my stuff here. And then I moved to here in New York 2 weeks ago from California. First week, I was just staying at like camp accommodation provided by the university. And then I moved to my apartment last weekend. And I'm still exploring the place. I'm still learning, a bit about New Jersey, New York. The lifestyle here is still settling down. I finally have my furniture here, so it feels like home now. But I do miss my family a lot in the West Coast. I miss my sister and my brother-in-law and my uncle and aunt and my 2 cousins. So I'll talk a bit about what my PhD is going to be on. So my advisor's lab focuses on pulmonary mechanics. It's lung mechanics. They work on reducing ventilator-induced lung injury. So once someone gets on the ventilator, the mortality rate is very high. Only about 50% of people survive after they are put on the ventilator. They're able to come back alive from the ventilator. So that's a big issue, especially with this COVID-19 pandemic. There are a lot of people getting, who need the ventilator because of pneumonia and the lung damage it does. So that's one thing they work on, reducing ventilator-induced lung injury. They work on administering, like they're working on like different methods they could use to treat pulmonary edema. So my project is going to be somewhere along the physiological side of this. I've just been, to prepare for my PhD, I'm just reading papers. I'm going to have to work with animals. So my professor's lab does animal studies. So I'll be working with mice, lab rats. And yeah, I've just been doing trainings on like how to work on animals, orientations, and all of that. And yeah, I'm really excited to start my PhD. Just to like wrap up a little bit, I'll give, some closing tips, some closing remarks. If you do want to come here to the United States to study, I would say that before you do anything, do some research on like what programs different universities have to offer, what you are interested in. There's a lot of scope for interdisciplinary research here. So a lot of mechanical engineers can, apply what they learned in mechanical engineering in BME. So, you could do something like undergrad in mechanical, chemical, and still pursue a master's in biomedical engineering, or vice versa. Just because, working with catheters or stents, you need a background of fluid dynamics, um, which is something that mechanical engineers study. I also took some fluid dynamics class in my undergrad. So there's a lot of scope for like interdisciplinary research here. Keep that in mind. A lot of like engineering people from engineering backgrounds in India, like mechanical, biomedical, they study something called engineering management here, which is if you want to work, if you're interested in like data related jobs, and there's a lot of scope for that field right now. So that's something you could consider. Um, and then, obviously you can do your master's, you can do your PhD, you can do your MBA. There's lots of like opportunities here. And then another thing that people really value here is honesty. You have to be very honest at what you do. So, so in my job, working with professors, I think honesty is what takes you really long way. People appreciate honesty. Don't try to like fake results or like fake, whatever, to get ahead in what you do. Just be honest, be hardworking. And then something that really, really worked for me so far is listening to my parents. Whatever my parents tell me, I listen to them. They speak with so much experience, it has always helped me through whatever I have done. Listening to my parents, listening to my sister, and also now I have my brother-in-law, also another super talented person in my family. So he guides me a lot also. So that has always worked for me. I get inspired by all of my family, not just my immediate family, but also my extended family, like my uncle, aunt. They're all amazing, hardworking people. So yeah, that has been really helpful. And thank you to my family. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to all my friends who have helped me come here. And thank you to the NDUAT team for giving me this opportunity to talk today. And please let me know if you have any questions. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and ask me any questions. And that's all.
Thanks to you.
Hello?
Are you? I didn't know that you are the sister of Charul. I know her. She may not be knowing me, but I know her.
Parul? My sister is Parul.
Yeah, a lot of. Yeah, I know a lot of people.
See, Charul.
I know a lot of persons from your area in Arizona. You might have heard the name of Rambha Singh.
Oh, I'm not sure.
But there are a lot of people. I know your. I know your
Oh,
Her
okay.
sister's name is there, yeah. And Arizona, my roommate was there, Dr. Rajiv Misra in microbiology at
Oh, I
Arizona State
see.
University.
He-
Yeah, he
Still
was.
he is there or he retired from
Oh,
there?
he's a professor
Still,
there. He's a professor in microbiology.
still there, right?
Yeah, he was my, we did MSc with all together. He went to Australia, but I did my PhD from Pantnagar. And there are a lot of people from your area. Where are you from, Bihar?
From Aurangabad.
Oh, Aurangabad. Yeah, there are a lot of people from Aurangabad, like
So
Anugrah Narayan.
actually,
Yeah,
yeah, Anugrah Narayan Road. So
yeah,
actually,
I
her
know,
aunt,
I know.
Her aunt Poonam Singh is a senior scientist there in Arizona State
I
University.
know. That's what I'm saying. I know Poonam Singh.
Oh, you
I
know
know a
my
lot.
aunt?
Ah,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Because when I came here in 90, I was the active member of RANA, Rajput Association of North America. And in 1990, we invited here Kern Singh in Chicago Convention. And right now, I am not the member, but we have chapters in New Jersey, Arizona, all over the United States. I know a lot of people from Bihar, UP, and Chandauli, Banaras. We have a group here. Rana means we have educational trust. There is one. There used to be a Jaswant Singh professor in Pantnagar. He's from Banaras. So we have established a fund through our Rana Rajput Association. We send money to 10 to 12% students every year in India. So we have there's a lot of activity going on here.
So still you keep your network
Yeah.
very well, huh? Looks like you know many people and still you are with the networking with them.
If you ask me, I know all the Misra, Tiwari, Dubey, Yadav who are from India.
Yeah, as I
They are
mentioned,
engineers.
networking is very important in this country.
Yeah, means there's one Dr. Yadav, he was on NDTT. I know him and he's in Atlanta. If you ask any Misra, Tiwari, Dubey, Yadav, I know all level who are from India because I am from India.
Right.
We are in Wisconsin. Actually, we are from Devaria, border of UP and Bihar.
Yeah, I know.
मेरा ननिहाल जी और सब सिवान जिले में है. तो ये जो है यहाँ पर जो हम लोग तो मतलब यहाँ पर 78 में तो हमारे चाचा आ गए थे, लेकिन उसके बाद जो है हम लोग यहाँ पर जो है मेडसन में है, पेवाकी में जहाँ जी सिस्टम है वहीं हम लोगों ने जो है बल्कि चाचा नहीं अपना हिंदू टेम्पल, फर्स्ट हिंदू टेम्पल ऑफ विस्कॉन्सिन बनवाया उन्होंने. तो यहाँ पर जो है मतलब अब हमारे परिवार में 5 पीएचडी है हमारे गांव में और 5 पीएचडी हमारे परिवार में है और 5 अमेरिका में है. 5 इसका एक केवल मेरा छोटा भाई प्रोफेसर है वहाँ मिजोरी में. बाकी 4 लोग हम लोग यहीं हैं. या
Yeah.
गुड
हाँ सब है.
सब सेटल है एकदम अच्छे से.
वो मेरा छोटा भाई है, मेरी 2 सिस्टर है, बल्कि उसका लड़का अभी मेडिसिन से बायोमेडिकल इंजीनियरिंग करके यहाँ जी में काम करता है. उसको जी वाले भेजे हैं वहाँ शिकागो में MBA करने के लिए. तो हम लोग जो है यहाँ पर वेल एस्टेब्लिश्ड हैं. तो यहाँ अगर हमारे लिए कोई सेवा हो, but you are already relative here, but if you need any help from us or any in G related, the G is right in our backyard, G medical system.
Sure, thank you, uncle. Thank you.
Yeah, I think certainly she will need some help and some support. So please share your email address, Dr. Sahab, and then I will forward it to her.
You mentioned the name about the Cornell. Cornell is there are a few universities in US where the name matters, like Cornell, even still, because if you have a degree from Cornell and if you go anywhere in US, you will not have any problem to get the job anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
Like Northwestern. If you have any degree from Northwestern,
right,
you will not have any problem.
Yeah, my professor, my advisor actually did her PhD at Northwestern. Yeah. She did her undergrad at MIT.
Yeah.
And
my cousin brother, he got his BTech Industrial Engineering from University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. But there is one year course project management in Northwestern, and Dr. Kryzek, he is the chairman, and whoever I recommend, he admits that person, but it's very expensive. It's about 80,000 per year. I recommended my cousin brother, and he goes there, and he got 1 year degree of project management.
Okay.
And wherever he goes, he is told that, look, we are giving you the job not because of University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. We are giving the job because you are the product of Northwestern University.
Oh, wow.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
The brand matter a lot.
Live. Is this
Cornell is not only good in medicine, they are also one of the best Institute of Agriculture, biological control of pests.
Yeah. Agriculture department is very good at
They are
Cornell.
the best one, and I have.
Papa, you've visited, right?
No, not
Yes.
visited, but I have Keith. I have from one of the professor. He has invited me to write a book, and he wants to be a co-author by biological control of pests. I have to decide what I have to do. But the Cornell is the best, and you are very fortunate. You should thank your parents and all that you are here. And other thing you told that the main focus that here the students are independent from the beginning.
Right.
And that is the one. This is the only thing we are lacking in India. In India, we make our children. Oh, you have to do this one. They don't give him to have way of independent thinking. That is the. And
Yeah, people here.
Right now it is very easy to get means for engineering students. There is no problem to come in US because they have a 4-year degree. But the problem is for the one who do MSc or PhD or MBBS from India, because in India the BA BSc is a 2 years or 3 years, but in America it's a 4-year program. And that's why they don't consider BA MSc or PhD from India in US as a qualified. And also MBBS, because here if you go for a medical degree, you have to take 4-year college degree to get the MD admission. Those who get degree from MBBS, now they have used to qualify 2 tests. Now they have to take 3 tests. But whoever wants to come here as an engineering graduate, it's very easy to get the admission in Master MTech. There's not a problem there. So if you want, you can write my phone number is 262.
Yeah, sure. I'll take a note.
Yeah, 262-853-0712.
Okay.
And my email is Raghu. My name RAGHUOM@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah. I have masters in chemistry. I have masters in microbiology. I have PhD in microbiology from Pantnagar. But when I came here in 90 from Kumarganj, I never opened the book of microbiology and biochemistry. I am environmental engineer.
Oh, I see.
Without any degree, BTech and MTech, and the university admitted me for PhD without any degree. I have math up to high school, 10th grade. And my grade point is 3.8, just I have to complete my thesis. America is a land of opportunity, and it gives it gives you whatever you want to do. If you have the willpower, you can do it.
For sure. Okay. That's right. It is the land of opportunities. Is this live still going on?
Yes, it's still going on.
It is? Okay. If it is, then at the very end, something I forgot to mention that I would like to tell everyone is that at this time, everyone should be extremely responsible. Please wear masks. Please take the pandemic seriously and try to take care of your elders around you and the weak people around you. So just take this pandemic very seriously. Take as many precautions as you can. Keep washing your hands. Keep wearing a mask. And take the flu shot this year. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe next year I am planning to visit I have a lot of friends in Philadelphia, New Jersey, and New York. Next year,
sure.
Next year we are planning to to make a trip of New York. I have a lot of my friends who did PhD with Pantnagar. They are everywhere in New Jersey, and so we have a society of College of Basic Sciences and CBS society, because in Pantnagar there is a College of Basic Sciences and Humanities. So we have a society, but at least there are 50 students from my college Pantnagar. They are in US right now.
Good, good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can
Let me know if
can you write your email address so you can?
Yeah, my email is Raghu. My name RAGHUOM@gmail.com.
Yeah, I took a note.
Yeah, OM is my name of my company. OM Enterprises. OM के नाम पर मैंने रख दिया.
I see.
So raghu.om, right?
RAGHUOM@gmail.com.
No dot, right?
No. Raghu,
Okay.
RAGHUOM@gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
और
you.
जब भी आप लोग आइए विस्कॉन्सिन में आइए, बस we are only 90 miles from Chicago. I can pick you up. It's 1 hour for me to get there.
Good. Sure, we will let you know, Dr. Saab.
Yeah,
My next visit.
बिल्कुल किसी समय आइए. हम लोग का अपना मंदिर है सब. We have everything.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
टीम टू देयर सर. एनडीओटी टीम को भी कुछ घुमा दीजिए सर. एनडीओटी टीम के मेंबर्स भी हैं सर.
मैं हमारी वाइफ भी मेंबर है. हमारी वाइफ ने जो है वहां से मास्टर्स किया था कुमारगंज से. आपके समय आप सिंह साहब जानते हैं, वो उन्होंने माइक्रो बायोकेमिस्ट्री में किया था. 90 में पूरा किया था. हर आईडी नंबर इज A-766 में. बायोकेमिस्ट्री में थी वो कुमारगंज में.
क्या नाम था?
सुनीता सिंह. हाँ, कुमारगंज में आ गया तो हॉस्टल में चली गई थी क्योंकि मैंने C20 छोड़ दिया था.
अच्छा.
उन्होंने मेरे आने के 2-2.5 साल के बाद मेरे वो लोग ज्वाइन किए थे, क्योंकि एमएससी, हालांकि वहाँ की एमएससी की डिग्री तो बेकार है. वहाँ की एमएससी की डिग्री जो है वहाँ मैंने यहाँ दिखाया था, कहा कि तो एक तो ये जो है ये मेज पर काम किया है. मेज की बायोकेमिस्ट्री क्या होती है? अरे हम मेज की होती है कि हम लोग जानते हैं कि मेज जब जर्मिनेट होता है, जब सीड जर्मिनेट होता है तो उसमें एंजाइम काम करता है. जब फल पकता है तो उसमें हार्मोन काम करता है. अब मेज की बायोकेमिस्ट्री तो भैया हम तो कभी नहीं सुने हैं.
तो डॉक्टर एबी आबिदी थे ना वो बायोकेमिस्ट्री के हेड.
वही आबिदी साहब थे. असल में वहां पर डॉक्टर कीर्ति सिंह जो है वो उन्होंने डिपार्टमेंट शुरू किया था, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ सॉइल माइक्रोबायोलॉजी. और उसमें पहला अपॉइंटमेंट जो है मेरे एडवाइजर का हुआ था डॉक्टर राणा का, और डॉक्टर राणा ने मेरा अपॉइंटमेंट किया था. लेकिन आने के पहले ही जो 18 नवंबर 1988 को उनका मर्डर हो गया. तो राणा ज्वाइन नहीं किए. तो उसके बाद डॉक्टर रमन राय आए आपके बिहार से.
यस.
हाँ, उसके बाद धर्मवाल चले गए वहाँ फैजाबाद में. मैं यहाँ चला आया तो डिपार्टमेंट टूट गया. तो मेरे आने के बाद जो है डॉक्टर कीर्ति सिंह के लड़के से मेरी साली की शादी हुई थी.
अच्छा.
हाँ, मेरे आने के बाद जो है संजय.
अच्छा, संजय.
हाँ, संजय की शादी जो है हमारी साली से, मेरी मिसेज की जो है सेकंड मतलब सिस्टर है. और तीसरी की शादी में वही उमेश जो वहाँ पर एमएससी कर रहा था उस समय एनिमल साइंस में. उमेश सिंह भी वो मऊ का आप लोगों के साथ रहा होगा.
राइट.
यस. उमेश जो है, उमेश भी हमारे साड़ू भाई हैं. जिस समय वहाँ मेरठ में है उसमें एनिमल ब्रीडिंग में.
आप तो एकदम कनेक्टेड है अभी भी एकदम सब लोगों से.
मैंने हमारे आपके नबी नगर में हमारे एक रिश्तेदार थे. नबी नगर में जो आपके औरंगाबाद में जो डिग्री कॉलेज है, नबी नगर में है ना, वहाँ पर नबी नगर में डिग्री कॉलेज है आपके औरंगाबाद में.
हाँ, नबी नगर है ना.
या हमारे वहीं हमारे वो थे रिश्तेदार थे वहीं पर. अब तो रिटायर घर आ गए हैं.
ओके
भाई आपका जिला तो अनुग्रह नारायण सिंह का तो इतिहास में है. हम लोग, मैं तो एक बार पढ़ रहा था कि जब बिहार के पहले मुख्यमंत्री का चुनाव हुआ तो उसमें कृष्ण सिंह थे मुजफ्फरपुर के, और अनुग्रह नारायण सिंह थे. अनुग्रह बाबू ने अपना वोट दे दिया तो कृष्ण सिंह जो है अपना वोट अपने खुद दिए, और अनुग्रह बाबू अपना वोट दे दिए कृष्ण सिंह को, तो कृष्ण सिंह जो बिहार के पहले मुख्यमंत्री बन गए। तो बड़ा अच्छा रहा।
ओके, या अच्छा था, इट्स गुड।
हाँ बिल्कुल, आप जो है वी विल बी इन टच।
श्योर श्योर। ओके सुप्रताप।
Okay.
श्री प्रताप, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर
Thank you.
कनेक्टिंग मी।
थैंक यू एवरीवन। सर नरेंद्र सर कुछ कहना चाहते हैं, कंक्लूड करना चाहते हैं, कह सकते हैं आप। इफ यू वांट टू कंक्लूड, प्लीज कंक्लूड इट समथिंग।
Yeah, so just I would like to thank Charul for the nice talk, and it was very informative for the youngsters who have inspiration to go to US. So it was very useful, and thank you the Nduat Masti team for giving the opportunity to Charul to share her experience, and I'm sure this will be helpful for many youngsters who are looking for going abroad for higher education. So I think thank you very much, and you have Dr. Raghu is here, and anybody want to connect, I think he is very much happy to help others, those who want to go there and establish a connection with them. This is how this whole interaction happen, and this team is helping a lot to connect each other. So thank you very much for the Masti team, and keep going this way. Try to find out more people, connect each other, because I just came to know, I was listening another talk, and I see Dr. Raghu, and he was commenting a lot, so I also start commenting, and then I thought, okay, I have to connect with this person. But now I know today that you were a class fellow with the PK Singh, so great to connect to you, and hope to see you sometime in US, or even if you plan to visit in Thailand, please do come.
Yeah, we have a lot of relations in Thailand. They are from all there is a village in very close to my village, Ropan Chhapra Methia. There are a lot of people who have the gold business there in Thailand.
Yes. So thank you, Shiv Pratap. So it was nice, and hope it was useful for many of the people who are listening and who will listen later. Thank you, Charul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
everyone.
so much. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. A lot. Thank you, sir. NK Singh sir, Raghu Singh sir, and Charul. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you good night, everyone.